Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Ramblings Middle-earth strategy battle game battle report. In this 800-point battle report, the last alliance clash against the overwhelming power of Barad-dur. Sauron the Deceiver has amassed a huge army of orcs, and all that stands between him and complete conquest of Arda is the last alliance of men and elves. Leading the last alliance force is Rivendell, the High King of Arnor and Numenor, and Gil-galad, High King of the Elves. Rivendell is atop a horse and has a shield on his back, and he has 5 warriors of Numenor with shield and 2 warriors of Numenor with bow. Gil-galad is also riding a horse, and again he's got a shield, and in his warband there are 5 spearmen with shield, one of which has a banner. And he also has 2 Knights of Rivendell with shield. And the overall army leader will be Gil-galad. Finally, Isildur, again with shield and horse, is riding to war with his warband of 5 Numenorians with shield and 5 with spear and shield. And that is 800 points of Numenor and Rivendell. Leading the forces of Barad-dur is, of course, none other than Sauron. He has with him 16 orcs, 8 who have a shield, 8 with spear and shield, and one of those has a banner. He also has a tracker with him. The orcs, they're modelled as Morannon orcs, simply because they're the orcs that happen to be about, but of course they are standard orcs for this game. Going to war with Sauron are 2 captains with warg and shield, and they both have 12 orcs with them, 6 with hand weapon and shield, and 6 with spear and shield, for a massive total of 44 models, 800 points of Barad-dur. This is the board for today's game. It's quite open, with a big lake in the centre, which is going to be shallow water. On the board you can see 3 objectives, 1 in the centre and 1 12 inches away on either side. That's because today's scenario is divide and conquer. In divide and conquer, the 2 side objectives are worth 1 point if you're able to hold it, and 2 if you're able to hold it with no enemy models, and the central objective is worth 3, and then 5 if you're able to hold it with no enemy models around it. So those objectives are worth a lot of points. There's also a victory point for wounding the enemy leader, and 2 for killing them, and 1 victory point for breaking your opponents. Deployment for this scenario is rather strange. You have to split your army in half and deploy in each corner, but alternating. So the first warband for evil that went down was a captain, then Sauron, then a captain, which has allowed Barad-dur to have quite an even control over the board, with low power but massive numbers of the 2 big captain warbands up at the top, and then still fairly sizable and very powerful with Sauron down at the bottom. Good, a slightly less balanced, with the very weak Isildur and Numenorian band up at the top, but that allowed the 2 High Kings of men and elves to combine their warband with the elven spearmen supporting them then. So they are going to hope to try and crush something quickly before turning on Sauron. Victory points, as always, are counted up at the end of the game, and this game will end randomly on the roll of a 1 or a 2 after one side has been broken. It's worth noting that Barad-dur have the special rule where they will only be broken once Sauron has been reduced to 2 wounds remaining. The lines are drawn and the board is set. Let's roll for turn 1 priority. Evil will be using the red dice and good will be using the green dice. And turn 1 on a 3 high goes to good. Beginning of turn 1, and the pointy captain is going to be calling a heroic march. The movement phase, Gil-galad and Elendil have moved up down here, and Isildur and his band have moved across over at the top, trying to move away from Sauron and also trying to pincer this group of orcs. In Barad-dur's move, with the march, all the infantry were able to move 9 inches and have moved away from the elf and Numenor force and also towards the centre, so that they can meet up with Sauron as quick as possible and so that they can try and fight around that central objective. Sauron and his band have just advanced. They're trying to link up with the slightly beleaguered orcs over at the top, and also Sauron is trying to get straight into the fight as quick as he can. Sauron has moved his full and is now well within 18 inches of the chaps up there. He's just out of range of Isildur, but he is in range of one of those Numenorians at the top. So he is going to cast a Chill Soul, which on a 4+ will automatically kill that spearman at the back. And it's a 2. So his first spell has been unsuccessful. In the shoot phase, there are 2 Numenorian shots here, going in on the captain, way over there. They're well in range, they've not moved, and they've got a clean shot. Hitting on 4s, that's 1 hit. Wargor Rider, it's the Rider, but no wound. The Rider there, nice and safe, that captain with his high defence. Then the only other shot is this chap here. This guy's been outmanoeuvred by the orcs, but this one has a shot. He's moved, so he's hitting on 4s. He does hit. 5+, and it's a 5. So that arrow goes straight forward and takes out an orc, and that is first blood to the last alliance. End of turn 1. Both forces manoeuvring, with the last alliance getting ready to pincer the orcs at the top. Let's roll for turn 2 priority. And it goes to evil. End of Barad-dur movement. The orcs have moved up towards Isildur and his small band, and away from Gil-galad and Elendil. Down here, the orcs with Sauron have just advanced, and Sauron has moved into 18 inches of Isildur. And so the last thing that Barad-dur are going to do in their movement phase is point in the right direction. Sauron is going to Chill Soul with 1 and his 3, the Horse of Isildur. It goes off on a 4+, and it's an automatic wound. Oh, and it's only a 2. Again, Chill Soul does not go off. So we'll come back with the movement for the good side. Isildur still mounted on his horse after the failure of Sauron with his Chill Soul. He has charged in and his entire line have engaged to try and cut through these orcs. Then on the other side of the pincer, moving slower than would be helpful, with no march in the last alliance force, the elf and Numenor shield wall have pivoted round. They are still charging up, but they're also making a beeline for the centre, wary of these orcs here. The knights have just moved half to try and get some shots off, and the two big hitter heroes have moved within 10 inches of the orcs. So if they can get priority, they should be able to get in and start causing some carnage. Again, we have some shooting. We have these two who are going to shoot into those orcs over there. They're hitting on 4s. Oh, and both miss. That is abysmal shooting again from the Numenorians. But the knights have the same targets. They're hitting on 4s as well because they've moved. Oh, dearie me. A 1 and a 3. Shocking shooting there from the last alliance of men and elves. However, they can redeem themselves in the combat phase. This is where things are going to get very, very interesting. Up at the top then for this shield wall clash, we'll begin with the 2-on-2 here. And on a 2-all draw, it goes to Numenor on fight value. They're strength 4, so they are wounding on 5s. Oh dear, but on a 1 and a 2, the orcs easily survive and back away. We'll then do the next 2-on-2. And on a 6 high, much better. Numenor win again. Looking for 5s. And there on the 5, get the kill. That orc there goes down. We then have another 2-on-2. Which on a 2 high, Numenor win. The orcs doing incredibly badly. Again, looking for 5s for Numenor. A 4 high doesn't quite cut it. And he has to back away across because he's been blocked in by his captain. Fairly poor placement there. And then another 2-on-2. Oh, on the draw, it still goes to good because they are a decent fight value of 4, these Numenorians. And another 5. That chap goes down. He does have room to back away, although it has ruined the shield wall for evil there. And then another 2-on-2. Again, another 6-6 draw. But Numenor win. And Numenor don't kill. And he's able to back away and fill the breach. But then Isildur has a mighty 4 attacks on the charge. And with 2 6s, he has easily won that. And then 8 dice, strength 5, defense 5. He needs 4s to wound. He's absolutely shredded him on his first set. And that spearman backs away. And that is absolute carnage from Numenor. That is the end of the fight phase and the end of turn 2. End of turn 2, the lines have clashed and Numenor have cut through the orc ranks, making a mockery of their shield wall. Let's go into turn 3 priority. And on a 2, it goes to evil. At the start of turn 3 with evil priority, Isildur is calling a heroic move. And Pointy Captain is going to use his last point of might to contest it. To roll off on a 1, 2, 3, it's evil, and on a 4+, it goes to good, and on the 3, it goes to Pointy Captain and evil. End of evil's move and winning that heroic move roll off, they have fully surrounded the Numenorian shield wall. That was not a roll off that Isildur could afford to lose. He's forced now in a lot of trouble. Then going into evil move, the tracker has stayed on the objective while the orcs have just advanced, with these ones managing to get into the water to start making headway on that central objective. Then finally Sauron has advanced, and he is now in range over the water of Elendil and Gil-galad. He is going to try his hand at Chill Soul yet again. Eventually he'll get more than a 2, and he's going after Gil-galad's horse. He needs a 4 for this to go off. And there, finally, he's got his 2, but he does get a 4. So 1 and his 3 has finally got Chill Soul to go off, and that is an automatic wound on Gil-galad's horse. So that horse is dead. After the FAQ, things that specifically target either horse or rider can't be resisted by the overall will of the model. So that horse is automatically slain and will roll for thrown rider. Ooh, it is a 1, and I don't actually think it's cocked. Can you balance a dice on it? Very easily. It just looks a little bit cocked. So he's taken a wound. Strength 3. Only a 4. So he's absolutely fine, and we'll find him a dismount. To add insult to injury to that Chill Soul on the horse, now that it's Good's move, Gil-galad, having rolled a 1, is unable to move. So the rest of the force will move, and he is unable to even stand up. End of the last alliance move, and with all of the Numenorians bogged down up there, the elves and men here have advanced to at least contest the centre. This archer has made a break for the left objective. Gil-galad has stayed prone on the floor with his horse whipped out from under him by magic. And the 2 knights are supporting Elendil. Elendil, who has moved right up to put some pressure on Sauron. This is going to be a very, very nasty couple of turns as these central lines clash, but already with the top fully engaged, it's going to be carnage. First off though, there are some shots. We'll start off the shoot phase with this tracker, and he is going to take a shot into Elendil. There isn't in the way for Sauron, but at defense 10, the strength 2 bow cannot wound him, so it's a fairly safe in the way. So he's going to shoot. He's not moved. He's hitting on 4s. He does hit. Does he hit friend or foe? It goes through horse or rider. It hits Elendil himself, needing 6s by 4. It's a 6. Will it wound 6s by 4? It does! Unbelievable. The tracker has shot past Sauron, straight into Elendil, and put a wound on him. That is massive. He's only got 1 fate, and he's going to save that fate. He's not the leader of the army, so he's going to save his fate for later. That was an incredible shot there from the tracker. After the orc sniper shenanigans, this Numenorian is going to shoot into a spearman. He's not moved, so he's hitting on 4s, and he misses on the 2. Nowhere near as good as that orc. Start of the combat phase, and with his force fully surrounded, Elendil is calling a heroic combat. He's going to try and pull at least one of those captains away from his beleaguered troops. So that fight goes first. Ooh, he only just wins it there on a 4. And with his amazing strength 5 on defense 5 orcs, he only needs 4s to wound. And he kills that orc there nice and easily. His friend backs away. And then he is able to move, and he charges straight in there onto that captain. In fact, he's going to go after that captain because Pointy is out of might. He's going to try and take down the 2 might captain. So that is that heroic combat, nice and quick, and he's straight in on the captain. With evil priority, going to do this fight next, which is a trapped Numenorian. So he's going to shield. And he wins there with double 6s. Absolutely no problem there. He is a very brave chap. We then do this fight here. He's going to be trapped as well. So he is shielding, but this time he loses. He can't hold back against 2 6s from the orcs. And then these are only standard orcs, strength 3, but the Numenorians are only defense 5. So wounding on 5s kills him very easily. And they back away and he goes down. They back away because they trapped their foe, that is. So then the next fight is this one here. Again, in fact, no, he probably isn't trapped, but he's still going to shield because he's outnumbered. He's waiting for his heroes to get in. Oh, and he wins there on a 2 high. So they have to back away for losing the fight. We then have a fight there. This chap's not trapped, but again, he's going to shield because he's by himself. He's won. So they back away, and we then have some fights that are much more in Numenor's favour. A 2-on-2. It goes to Numenor, looking for 5s to kill, and they kill the orc. In the shield wall, they are very lethal, these Numenorians. We then have the last 2-on-2, which again goes to Numenor, looking for 5s to kill. And with that 6, another orc goes down. That is good work there from the Numenorians. The next fight is this charging captain. So we've got 3 attacks against 2 spear Numenorians. They're going to fight it. They're going to go brave because the captain's out of might and they have even fight. Oh, it definitely doesn't pay off for them. They have lost. They are getting killed on 5. So the first double strike is a kill. And the second is a kill. That captain there takes down 2 Numenorians. That is not good for the Numenorian lines. But then, hopefully, Isildur can work his magic and break this captain. It's a spearman and Isildur. So Isildur in the standard green, and then the bigger one is his friend against the captain. No charge bonuses for either of the captain or Isildur because they've charged into cavalry. It's a straight fight. Oh, double 1s for the orc captain. Nothing he can do about that. Not when Isildur's got the 6 and fight value. And so they are going to pile their attacks into him. The high defense there of 6 of the captain does mean that it is 5s across the board. So looking for enough 5s to get a kill. Just 1. The captain backs away and he's going to save his fate for later. Not the result there that Isildur wanted. He needed to cave his skull in and then have the run of the board. End of turn 3, and the Numenorians have really given it their best at the top. Losing a couple of guys, but not nearly as many as you'd expect for a fully surrounded force. The heroic combat from Isildur, while not killing the captain, definitely bought time for his beleaguered men. Let's roll now for turn 4 priority. And it goes to good. Start of the movement phase then, with good priority. This captain is going to use a point of might for a heroic move. And Isildur is countering with his last point. To roll off, 1, 2, 3, it's evil. 4+ it goes to good. And on the 2, it goes to this captain. And he is just going to go straight forward and in. And then everyone within 6 inches of him is going to move. After that heroic move, all of Numenor has been tagged. And the mightless captain has managed to get into a nice combat there to get some kills. And quite entertainingly and unforeseen, Sauron has just managed to tag along with the heroic combat. And he has got Elendil in his sights. Now Elendil is right there for a compel. Sauron can then jump on him and mutilate him with all his orc friends. But Elendil is basically impervious to magic. He's got resistant to magic. He's got his own special rule that gives him effectively fortify magic. So he's got 2 free resist casts because they stack. And he's got 3 will. So that compel would never go off. So instead, taking advantage of that dreaded FAQ, Sauron is going to use his Chill Soul on a 4+ on the horse there. So it goes off on the 4, and on a 5 it's gone off, and that has killed the horse. Just double checked, and Fortify Spirit definitely doesn't affect the steed. So the horse is dead, although it should also be worth noting that it's even more difficult to cast spells against him, as Fortify Spirit is 2 extra dice. So he actually gets 3 to resist any spell, and he's got 3 will. He is a bit of a beast, but his horse is not. So Throne Rider, it's a 3. He's absolutely fine, but he is dismounted. And then Sauron will get to move as well. End of the movement phase, and there was not a lot that the alliance of men and elves could do after at least half of their force at the top was tied up. So Gil-galad has moved just 3 inches, having to waste half his move standing. Elendil charged forward, ready to take on Sauron, and the men and elves here advanced as far as they could, having to move half in the water, and the orcs followed up. A couple of them could have got into combat, but not enough to make it worthwhile, so instead they've just tried to form a wall to secure the objective. Both sides have an objective on the left and the right each, so it is going to be quite a scrum in the centre to contest this game. There are a couple of shots, with these two having stood still. They are going to take shots into the orcs over there. They hit on 3s, and 1 hits. This one hiding behind the tree, needing 5s to wound. Oh, it is a 4. The orc survives. And then we also have this chap here. He's going to take the same shots. He hits, but doesn't wound. And then this chap up here is going to be shooting into one of those. He hits, but again doesn't wound. Very poor shooting from the last alliance. Combat's up at the top, and we're going to start off up here with 4-on-1. So the Numenorian shields and wins on a 4+. He beats back the 4 orcs who were threatening him. That is not what the orcs need. They need to cut through as many guys as possible. Then we've got a 2-on-1. Again, that chap is trapped. So if we can find the right dice, he is going to... In fact, no, he's not trapped. He's going to fight it. He's going to go super brave. And on the draw, it's paid off. 5s to wound. He kills. He has killed that orc there. And then it's a 1-on-1, so he's definitely going to be fighting it, that Numenorian. And he wins again on the draw. And he kills. Numenor absolutely steamrolling the orcs in the shield wall here. Another 2-on-1. And again, he's going to fight it. Oh, he loses this time. Bit too brave there, too cocky. But he survives. He just backs away. He's absolutely fine. Then we have a 6-on-1. He is definitely going to be shielding there. If we can even find enough dice. Here we go. And on the 6, he wins. Doesn't even need fight value there. He just wins simply because he rolled higher. What an absolute champion. Numenor really showing their worth there. That is incredible work. We then have these two here who are going to fight against the captain. So it's 2-on-3. They're going to rely on their fighting prowess. Oh, and it deserts them. A 2 and a 3. Not good there. So these are wounding on 5s. The first guy dies, and then it is 4 attacks, 2 doubles, and the other goes down. The captain there has killed 2 more. He's on a bit of a rampage, isn't he? They need to start shielding against him. Then the next fight is the captain and 1 against Isildur. So the captain will be the big dice, 1 for his friend, and Isildur has his 3 attacks. That's impressive. 5 and 2 6s across the board for both teams, but Isildur gets it easily with his fight value, and he puts everything into the captain. That's a wound. It's the captain's final wound, so he has to roll fates. He needs a 4 to keep him alive. It's a 6. He's absolutely fine. He has got 1 wound, no fate, but he's still in the game. End of a very brutal turn with both Orc and Numenorians taking heavy casualties. We roll now for turn 5 priority. And it goes to evil. With evil priority, Elendil has considered a heroic move, but has decided not to. He's going to save his might for heroic strikes. That leaves Sauron free to charge him, but before he does, he's going to cast a quick Chill Soul at Isildur's horse. 1 and is free, and on the 6 it goes off, so Isildur is dismounted. His Throne Rider is at 2, so he's fine, but he'll be unable to make strikes this turn. Sauron is then just going to charge him, and we'll wrap him round so that he's able to stand up on this little rock, and they're going to duel in the combat phase. End of the movement phase, and this is how the board is looking. Up at the top, all of the Numenorians have been surrounded, with the captains charging into normal warriors, and Isildur has just been tied up by 1 orc because he's got no might to call any heroics. Then the orcs have advanced onto the central objective, with Sauron attacking Elendil, ready to have a heroic strike off and see who is the superior fighter. Then here, this band of orcs are looking like they could be in trouble. They are fighting a slightly superior number infantry force. They're definitely better in combat, and also the cavalry have come in to make their presence known. In the shoot phase, this tracker is going to shoot into the Isildur combat. He hits, friend or foe. He hits Isildur, needing 6s by 4s. It's a 6! And a 6! He is an absolute sniper. He's taken a wound off Elendil, and now he's taken a wound off Isildur. That is unbelievable shooting there from the little orc that could. This archer is going after a spearman up at the top. He's hoping to be as good as the little orc sniper, but he's not. He misses on a 2. Start of the fight phase, and Elendil is calling a heroic strike with his first point of might, and Sauron is going to counter. Oh, and Sauron fight 9 up to 10 with anything he rolls. But Elendil is only fight 7, so he's now only fight 8. So Sauron has the fight value advantage. We'll come back to the Sauron fight in a minute. We'll start off down here. It's 2 on 2. And on the draw, it goes to the elves and Numenorian. They both need 5s, and they kill. Spearman backs away to make way for his friend, but his friend is killed. We then have another 2 on 2. We're just ignoring that slight bit of terrain there, and the spearman's still in. but it's not helping. 5s to wound, and he is killed as well. This shield wall is brutal. We then have another 2 on 2, but this time it is the banner as the spear support. So the banner will be this one, and it'll have a -1. Doesn't make any difference there with the 6 from the Numenorian at the front. Rolling to kill, needing 5s. This time they don't kill, they're not successful. So the orcs back away. We then have a mess here. We'll do this 4 on a shielding orc. He doesn't really stand any chance, but he's going to shield just in case. Oh, saying that, he's won 5 high to the 3 of the elves and Numenorians. There is the banner reroll though, and he has won. He pushes back the might of the last alliance there. They are pushed back, and he is still alive, which is crucial there for the orc. And here it is the 2 attacks each, so 4, the 2 cavalry, again shielding orc. This time the elves win. It's a draw, but they definitely have fight value there, and so these will be double strikes. They're wounding on 5s down to 4s with their lance, and they absolutely slaughter that poor orc. After inflicting heavy casualties with the elven and Numenorian shield wall down here, we then come up to a slightly less pretty picture, but we'll start off with Isildur. He's fighting a shielding orc. He wins regardless of what that cock dice goes to, because he's got the 6 and he wounds on 4s. A 6 and a 4, that orc is dead. The rest of these fights, however, are not quite as in favour for the forces of good. We've got this chap here who is shielding. See if he rolls the 6, he doesn't. The captain and 3. We'll roll the captain first. The captain gets a lot of 6s and has won. So he has double strikes, wounding on 5s. Nothing on the first lot, but he gets him on the second. So they've trapped him. These guys just back off, and he is down. The next fight will be this chap at the back who's very trapped. He's trapped by 3, so it's 3 onto a shielding Numenorian. The Numenorian's fighting skill is leaving him there. He's a bit tired, and he pays for that fatigue with his life. They've trapped him, so they back away, and he is down. We then have this fight here with evil priority. They're trying to keep the traps going. We have 2 on 1. He is going to shield as well. Oh, he doesn't win. It's only a 3 high for evil, but it's enough. 5 double strikes, and they kill. So they back off, and he is down. We then have a 4 on shielding, which again the Numenorian loses, needing 5s, and they kill him. He can back away, so the orcs don't move. We then have the captain and 2 friends. We'll roll the captain first, and then the 2 friends. Oh, there is a chance. It's only a 4 high. He's shielding, but it's only a 3. Oh, that is not good for Numenor. So these are double strikes because they've knocked him prone, but they absolutely slaughter him. He is removed as a casualty. That is a lot of dead Numenorians there. In fact, every single one, leaving just Isildur on the top of the board. We then have the final fight, which is Elendil versus Sauron. And after botching the strike, Elendil does not have even fight value with Sauron. So we'll roll. Sauron has 4 attacks, and he's got the 6. Elendil absolutely fluffing it there. Sauron has won. So Sauron is going to make his strikes, and he is going to rend the king. He's going to be wounding on 3s, and that is just 2. He has already taken a wound, so it's going to go down to fate. Or he can spend a point of might. He's going to spend a point of might. Sauron there ups it to 3 wounds. Even if he fates it, would he have... he wouldn't have saved it, although he's got enough might. So it was worth Sauron's might, and Elendil is killed. The sniper archer there that did that wound early on, absolutely nailing the coffin so that Sauron could finish him. And that is the end of the turn. End of turn 5, and it is not looking good for the last alliance. Up at the top, it is now just Isildur left. All of his force has been destroyed, as has his father, Elendil. Gil-galad is going to take up the mantle and charge into Sauron, but it could be too little too late as their forces are in tatters. Let's roll for turn 6 priority. And on the draw, it goes this time to good. With turn 6 priority going to good, Isildur has made a break for this objective. He is hoping for the orcs to follow him and drag them away from the centre. And the pointy captain with no might and a big band of orcs has obliged. The elven cavalry, unimpeded by the water, charged in to try and stem the tide of orc infantry. The elven and Numenorian infantry have charged everything down here to try and clear out this flank and get some form of board control. They have been slowed down, being infantry, by the water, which meant the banner couldn't get close enough to Gil-galad to help out the fight as he is dueling Sauron, who is being helped out by this orc. In Evil's move, they have, as we've said, flooded towards, but not charged yet, Isildur. Only the captain was in range, and he's not brave enough to try it by himself. And then here, orcs flooding towards this objective, held by the lonely, very inaccurate bowman. This captain, who does have might, has charged in, countering the charge of the elf, and is going to try an heroic combat and break into Gil-galad. Before we get stuck into the combats though, it is the shoot phase. And this archer hasn't moved. He is going to be shooting up there into one of those orcs. He hits on a 4 and of course he misses. Over on the right hand side, the tracker is going to shoot Isildur. He hits there on the 5, needing 6s by 4s. Oh, so close there on the 5. The orc captain that countercharged this rider is not going to use his last might for a heroic combat. The orcs would be slowed down by the water and wouldn't be able to help out Sauron in the combat, so it's not worth the last point of might. The 2 big hitters, Sauron and Gil-galad, are both not going to strike as well. They are the same fight value. Gil-galad is going to rely on his elven weapon, and Sauron has opted to save his might. We'll start the fighting off with this fight here. It's the captain and 6. They're going to set the bar. They get a 6. So the elf with higher fight value, if he gets a 6, he could win. It's a 1. That is a poor showing there from the elf. He could well now be getting ripped out the saddle. It is 5s from the captain, who is the bigger red dice, and 6s on the little dice. And he survives! Oh, yes, he does. He is indestructible. He just backs away, ignoring all of those hits, and laughs in the face of danger. We'll come back to the Sauron fight, and next up we'll do these fights here. So we'll start off with this one. This orc is going to shield, and he is fighting 2. He loses the fight on the draw. Oh no, it's not a draw, he's won. And the banner is miles away. So he pushes back the elf and Numenorian. We then have a 2-on-2, so they're all going to be fighting. In fact, the orcs are going to stab, why not? They've lost, that's why not. They are going down on 5s, neither of them die, and then the stabs are 6s. They're fine, they back away. And then we have this chap here fighting 4. In fact, we'll do this one first. He's going to be trapped. It's 1 and banner support. The banner will be the bigger dice against a shielding orc. The shielding wins, but there is the banner reroll, which doesn't quite cut the mustard. He backs away, and then we've got this 4-on-2. 2 because he is, of course, going to shield. Oh, the orc did his best on the 6, but it's not enough because of the fight value of the Numenorians and the elves. So needing 5s, they kill. And that orc is dead. A fairly savage set of combats down here. There's no combat up there because the Sealdoors run away. So it is now down to Gil-galad versus Sauron. We'll clear out these dice, and it is 4 attacks for Sauron against 3 for Gil-galad. Oh, and in fact there is the one little orc friend who's going to piercing strike. Oh, Gil-galad's got the 6, and Sauron definitely doesn't on a 4. Sauron is going to banner reroll to a 5. Ooh, he could use might, but he doesn't have an elven weapon. He's going to let Gil-galad win the fight. So Gil-galad makes strikes. Let's see if he can wound Sauron. He's got a brace of 4s. That is not good enough at all. He's not going to burn any might on that. Sauron backs away, as does the little pleb. And that is the end of the phase. At the end of turn 6, both forces have one of the outer objectives, and the central objective is heavily contested. Let's roll for turn 7 priority. And it goes to evil. Start of the move phase with evil priority. Gil-galad is calling a heroic move. And this captain over here is using his last point of might to contest. On a 6, it goes to Gil-galad. With that heroic, Gil-galad and his small remaining force have charged, just tying up as much as possible, while Gil-galad tries his absolute best to bring down Sauron. The banner is now in range of Gil-galad, although he is in combat. And here, as many as were caught in the move have charged and tried to form a bit of a wall, again, to protect their king. End of the move, and the orcs have tied up as many of the elves and men that were not in the heroic move down at this portion of the battlefield. And then over here, Isildur is fully surrounded. He is going to be fighting for his life. There's the captain on the charge and a whole brace of orcs. And over here, these 5 orcs are charging towards this objective. But before they get there, the unreliable shooter is going to make a name for himself, and he's going to bring down the lead orc. Hitting on 4s. Oh, he's hit! That's a nice surprise. Wounding on 5s. No. And in fact, he's wounding on 6s. And no, he has not wounded. He is a very, very useless archer. Start of the combat phase, and Sauron is going to call a heroic strike. Simply because he wants Gil-galad to counter, which he is going to have to stay in the fight, which leaves Gil-galad now with just 1 might remaining. Before we do the big Sauron fight at the end, we'll come to Isildur. He is fighting the charging captain, which is these 3 bigger dice, and 7 plebs. Can they get the 6? Yes, they have got the 6, so they're putting the pressure on. Isildur is he's not going to be able to shield. If he shields, he will eventually die, so he's going to have to go for the kills. But on a 4, it is not good enough. He has lost. He is going to be wounded on 6s because he is pretty tough. Ooh, just 1 wound, which he is going to take. He's down to 1 wound, but he does still have 2 fate. Oh, in fact, these are double strikes because he's now not prone by the cav. That many dice, I figured that was all of them, but no, that's just the first lot. Rolling again. Oh, and that's another couple of 6s. He is down. In fact, no, 2 more wounds. He's got his 2 fate. So if he saves these 2, he'll survive. Double 6s. Absolute monster. He's out of fate. 1 wound. He's on the ground, but he is still alive. What an absolute little beast, Isildur. In fact, with a shield, they are 6s by 4. So we'll roll these 6s by 4. Only 2 of those go through. So in fact, he has used his fate, but he has 2 wounds. See, his defense 8 and the orcs are only strength 3. The next fight we'll come across, we'll do this knight against 2 with the banner in support. Banner is the big dice. And that goes to the bannerman, who -1 down to a 5 is still enough to win. They need 6s to get him off his horse and kill him. And they get it there, the 6. The knight is killed. We'll then do this fight here. It's 2 on 1. The orc is going to shield. In fact, no, we'll do the banner fight first. It's evil priority. So the bannerman is shielding. The orc will piercing strike. Oh, and the orc wins because the banner is -1. He can banner himself, and he's won there with the 5 going down to a 4. So he pushes the orc back. We then we'll do this one. It's 2 on 1. The orc is going to shield, winning the fight there, although there is the banner, which is not enough. So they back away, but they are nicely surrounding that objective. We then have 4 on 1. That orc is going to shield. Not that it's going to make much difference, although it did last time. No, not even slightly on a 2 high. His banner's miles away. And he is dead on a 5. And they all back away. We then have another 2 fighting a shielding orc. So it's 2 on 2. On the draw, it goes to good. So they've got the fight value, but they don't kill, and the orc backs away. We then have the same again here. And this time it goes to evil. So he pushes the elf and the man back. Once again, we have the 6 and the captain against the elf. So we'll roll those 8 dice. They get a lot of 6s there. And the elf only gets a 2. He's out of banner range. So now they have another attempt at killing. It's 5s on the big dice for the captain, 6s on everything else. And again, absolutely abysmal. They bottle it, and the knight moves back. That is ridiculous. He has survived 12 basic attacks and 4 attacks from a captain across 2 turns. What an absolute tank. We then come to the major event. It is Sauron versus Gil-galad. They're both fight 9 base, so with striking, even if they roll a 1, they are fight 10. which is as high as we can go. So it's simply a case of rolling to see who wins the fight. Sauron's 4 attacks, Gil-galad's 3. Oh, and it goes to Sauron there. Gil-galad has a banner reroll, which was that one. It knocked that one. And then he's also got his own reroll for Lord of the West. That is not good. A 4 high. He has lost the fight. We are just going to go and double check the footage to make sure that that definitely was not the 6 that was rolled. Yeah, we've checked the footage and Gil-galad did not roll the 6. So Sauron is going to rend him, which means these are wounding on 3s. Oh, and there's 4 wounds. Gil-galad's 3 wounds, 1 fate is not enough. And Gil-galad goes down to Sauron. That is not a good result for the last alliance. It's not a good day to be a High King. Gil-galad has now fallen. Elendil has already fallen. It's all down to Isildur, although he is in a very, very sticky situation. Let's roll for turn 8 priority. And it goes to good. End of turn 8 move, and the knight has charged into, oh dear, all of these guys again, stopping them from advancing towards the objective, where by some miracle the still unbroken last alliance have numbers and are holding the central objective. These orcs have decided not to chance their hand. They're just staying where they are, keeping the banner near Sauron. Speaking of banners, the only model in range of charging Sauron was the banner. So the Rivendell banner there has charged Sauron. The forces of good have managed to tie up as many of the orcs as possible. Oh, he's been knocked. They are just trying to clear these guys out, hold the objective, and then hope that when they break, the game ends quickly and they'll get the central objective. Over here, Isildur with priority wrapped around the captain, getting ever closer to this objective, and he's just hoping to cut his way through as many orcs as possible and try and clear them out. Over on the left, the plucky archer backstepped to keep the orcs out of range, and we'll have one last shot to thin the orc ranks before the lines clash. Although by lines clash, we mean 5 orcs pile on to that poor archer. Unless he can get a big 6. Oh, a 5, that'll do. But it's a 2. So even at that kind of range, he still fails to wound with his bow. Over on the right, Sniper Orc is going to risk it for a biscuit, and he is going to shoot into the Isildur combat. Cocked. He hits on the 4 it was meant to be. Friend or foe, it's hits Isildur. 6s by, no, it's just a 1. It bounces off his armour, but hopefully that distraction is enough that he'll bottle the fight and get taken down. Start of the combat phase, we'll start off with Isildur. He's against the 7 and the captain, who get the 6, putting pressure on. Oh, and again he fluffs it. He has not won and is in a lot of trouble. He is 6s from the big dice and then 6s by 4s from the little ones. Oh, that is a wound. That takes him down to 1 wound. He is trapped. So these are all rolled again. And that is a 6. 6s by 4s will kill him. And it's a 3. He survives. He is down to 1 wound, but he is alive. They're going to back away to try and block him off from the objective, but he can still get closer and start trying valiantly to clear away some orcs from that objective. The next fight is the Sixen captain against 1. Oh, they only get a 5 high. It's possible that the knight will win. And he does on a 5. He has won the combat and he's going after the captain's warg. Oh, he doesn't kill, but they back away. And that is quite crucial for them, as backing away means he won't be able to charge them all at once. We'll do Sauron next. He is fighting against the shielding banner. He definitely wins there on the 6s, and he rends him. Yes, obliterated the banner. That was always going to happen, but it was better than the alternative for Rivendell. We then have this 2-on-1. The orc is going to shield. Need to keep bodies near that central objective. They've won, and the banner is dead. The elves shouldn't have done that fight in that order. Oh, he's shielding anyway, isn't he? We then have 2-on-1. Again, the orc is shielding and wins, pushing them back. That is good results here for Barad-dur. We then have 2 on shielding again, but it goes to good, needing 5s. No, they don't get in. They just push him a bit further away from the objective. We then have this 3-on-1. Again, it's a shielding orc. But on 6s, the orc can't possibly win. He's lost the fight and dies. The warriors of Numenor and the elves are absolute beasts in combat. They are struggling without heroes, but they are still holding their own. That's the end of the fight phase, and the end of the turn will roll for priority. It goes to good. With the death of the banner, the Numenorians and elves are now broken. So it's going to be some courage tests. We'll start off with Isildur. He is rolling for courage. He's courage 6, so he fails. He's +1 for the army bonus, but -1 for being within 18 inches of Sauron. So that is a fail. He uses a point of will to make that a pass and charges into the warg. In fact, no, he's going to go as close to the objective as he can. An extra attack from the warg rider is the least of his worries. We'll then roll these courage tests off camera because it can be painfully dull, and these will probably all pass. End of the movement phase. As predicted, only 1 elf fled. That's despite the 18-inch -1 courage bubble given out by Sauron. The Numenorians and elves have just charged and moved up, trying to get as many bodies as possible onto that central objective. Over here, this archer passed his courage test and just waited patiently to be swamped. The orcs then obliged. He is going to fight for his life, although it looks like his days may be numbered. Unless he's a much better swordsman than he is bowman. Up at the top of the board, the orcs have just moved down, getting as close to the objective as possible, while the bravest of all brave knights has charged into Sauron. That left the captain free to charge into this the spearman, who was brave enough to stay but not brave enough to charge Sauron. In the shoot phase of just 1 shot, the orc sniper misses on a 1. Combat phase will start off over here with Elendil. He's going to set the bar this time, see if that makes a difference. And it does. He gets the 6, so he's going after the orcs closest to the objective. Wounding on 4s, he gets 2 kills. He whips that chap and that chap, and the rest back away. We then move across and we have the Numenorian who's going to shield against the 2 orcs. He just wants to survive until the end of the game. And he will, assuming the game ends before he dies, because that shielding was successful and they back away. We then have 1 on 2, one of whom is the banner, which will be the big red dice. And again, Numenorian is shielding. Although this time it doesn't pay off. That one is cocked. Still doesn't pay off for him. It's 5s to bring the Numenorian down, but on a 4, he is fine and he backs away. We then have this fight here. It's a 2 on 1. So this time the orc will shield. And the orc wins, pushing them back. But they're still, importantly, within 3 of the objective. That is crucial at this point. Then we have a 1-on-1, but it's the captain on the charge. So that's 3 attacks against the shielding elves. 2. The elf wins on fight value, pushing the orc captain back. We then have a fight here. It's 2 on 1. And the orc will, of course, shield and win the fight, getting pushed further towards the objective. There's then a 1-on-1 here. It goes to good, but unable to kill. He backs away. We then have Sauron up there against the charging knight. So the charging knight does get the extra attack. Sauron is 4 attack base, and with a 6 and fight value 9, he has easily won. Sauron is then going to barge, although he'll be on half movement. Will he be able to reach anything at all? Let's just measure how far that is. He would need a 4+ to be able to get in, but it will... Nah, he's just going to kill. He's just going to kill. On the 4, he does get that kill. And that is another elf dead. We then have the final fight. It's 5 on the bowman. He's not able to shield. Well, let's see if he gets the 6. No, it's just a 3. So we'll gather up 5 dice. They beat the 3 easily there with a 5. These are then double strikes, needing 5s to kill, and they get him on the first go round. Backing away, he is dead. End of the turn, and the beleaguered survivors of the Last Alliance are still holding strong in the centre. They're cutting through orcs, but Sauron is making his way towards them. This is the first turn that's begun with one force being broken. So we need to roll to see if the game ends. And it doesn't. On a 1 or a 2 it ends. But any other result, the game continues for another turn. Let's roll for priority. And this time it goes to evil. With Barad-dur priority, Sauron is going to charge into this chap. And on his way in, he's casting Drain Soul against this elf. 4+ to kill him. On the 6, that elf is dead. Just an instant wound dealt to Sauron, reaches in and crushes his soul. End of evil move, and they have swamped Isildur and swamped the centre and abandoned the left, just leaving 1 guy to hold the objective while 4 run towards the centre. It is looking a little bit more bleak for the Last Alliance as Sauron is making his presence known amongst the infantry now that he has crushed all opposition. There's just 1 untagged chap who is going to take a courage test. Oh dear, and he fails it. That is not good for the Numenorians and Rivendell Alliance there. The Last Alliance losing someone to courage. So there's no shooting as the sniper has joined the fray. He's gone in on a seal door, desperate to bring him down after wounding him with an arrow. So no shooting, we'll go into the combats. And we'll start off with this one here. It's a draw, so it goes to good. He doesn't wound the orc, and the orc backs away. The next one will be this one here. It's the captain charging into the bowman. The bowman, oh, draws the fight. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 2 evil. It does go to evil. That's unfortunate for the plucky bowman. He nearly managed to do it there. But he goes down on 5s. Double strikes, yet he is dead. Then we have a 1-on-1. They're both in range, but if that elf backs off, he's probably going to be too far away from the objective. So he is going to shield. The orc is going to stab. Oh, the orc loses, so he takes stabbing damage, but doesn't die as it is only a strength 2 on his defense 5. We then have a 1-on-1, and they are both going to fight it. Oh, not good. Too high has won for Numenor, but the banner is in range, so re-rolling to a 3. He's won, needing 5s, but doesn't kill. So he backs away. He'd have to give away slightly, but he's still in 3 of the objective. We then have Sauron, and Sauron has his mighty 4 attacks against the shielding elf. And Sauron has won on the 6. Sauron is going to rend him and slaughters him. That's another dead warrior for good. They are hemorrhaging units now. This fight here then, it's a 2-on-1. The Numenorian is going to shield, and one of the attacking dice will be a banner. So that's the big dice. Oh, double 1s. Numenor loses. It's 5s to kill, and that 6 will do it. The Numenorian is dead. We then have 4-on-1. He's going to shield. He's got fight value. If he can get the 6, he'll win. Oh, wrong amount of dice. There we go. Oh, so close. The 5, but with a 6 for evil, that Numenorian has to back away and brace himself for 4 attacks needing 5s. No, he survives. He survives, and he's still in 3 of the central objective. That is all of the fights in the centre. We'll then come across to Isildur. Can he get the 6? He's going to set the bar to 5. Knowing the orcs, it is perfectly possible there that they won't get it. They have 6 attacks plus the charging captain. So we'll roll the 6 first. Oh, and they get the 6. So they make their strikes needing 6s followed by 4s. So 6s followed by 4s. No. These are all re-rollable because they are trapping him, but still nothing. Then the captain has all of his strikes. He has 6 strikes, needing just straight 6s. That's a wound, and that, I believe, is his final wound. So at the end of the turn, we roll. On a 1 or a 2, the game is over. And with only 4, last alliance for their sake. Let's hope it's a low number, and it is. It's a 1, and that is the game over. So the game has ended, and it will come as no surprise to find out that Barad-dur have won. They get 2 for having each of those objectives for a total of 4. They have killed the enemy leader for 2 points. They have broken the enemy for 1 point. And they have control of the central objective. They definitely outnumber the forces of good, but they're denied the 5 victory points as there are still good models remaining. The forces of Barad-dur are still unbroken, and the last alliance have no objectives. And Sauron is definitely unwounded, which means Sauron has won a 10-0 victory. With the One Ring of Power, Sauron has slain both the High King of Elves and of men, and his forces have decimated the last alliance. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.